Hello, hello. Welcome to the Healed in Cash Flowing podcast show. My name is Kat, and I'm here with my friend Sandy. How are you, Sandy?
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, it's a pleasure. It's a very different intro because usually when I'm interviewing someone, I don't know them, but I actually know you. So I know we're going to have a good time. So for those that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So my name is Sandy Calling. I'm originally from Germany, from a little town called Zweibrücken, very close to the French border. Moved to America in 1993 and have lived all over and currently not too far from where Kat is in the beautiful Hudson Valley. And I'm a mom of two. I have three dogs, huge dog lover. I'm also an equestrian, love horses. And a huge passion of mine is all things travel.
Amazing. And I love that we have a similar story. So you moved to the US before me. I moved in 95, so 2 years after
Couple
you.
years.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And now I understand your love for all things travel because you are, even though you were in Germany, so you were really close to France. That tracks for me. That makes a lot of sense.
So I was born actually in France, but I was 6 months old when I moved to Germany. And being, Europe, right? It's such a small continent and travel. Like we used to go literally in high school. We used to hop on a train for 4 hours and go to Paris for coffee over the weekend. So
Wow.
travel, it's always been in my blood. And again, being raised in Europe, it's so much easier to just, move around and get around.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I can definitely see how for you travel, it's second nature. Now, when do you realize that this was not the case for everyone? Like it's super easy for you. When do you realize, wait a minute, not everybody is as good at this as I am?
That that's a funny question because I never really realized it until very recently. Because travel is really I feel like it's my sole purpose.
Mm.
Soul is on fire when I am planning a trip, getting on an airplane or a train. It doesn't even have to be an airplane, but it's like literally my sole purpose. And, I just thought everybody loved to travel. Now, I had of course, come across people who are afraid of flying, the fear of flying, which is, a very realistic thing for many people. But I was really surprised, and this just happened within the last couple months, when people were telling me that they have anxiety about or overwhelm around navigating all the different options out there when researching flights, when researching rental cars, when researching just even where to go and the nervousness. And I was recently, in Arizona, and a few of us decided to go to Sedona for the day we were in Phoenix. And the people I were with, they were like, they'd love to go, but how do we navigate this? I'm like, well, we rent a car and and it wasn't that normal for them. It wasn't that, and that's when I realized, oh, it really is a thing. People don't necessarily have that in their DNA. That it's just you just do whatever. So it's just truly a passion of mine, and people for years and years have called me and asked me book flights, look at flights, and so it just became second nature.
No, it's something that you said it was not normal for them, but because you did it so much growing up, it became second nature, your normal. So that I think is a big distinction to make because I have friends that are my age or older that don't have a passport, which to me, as an immigrant, it's almost unfathomable.
I can't imagine. I like that, like not having a passport. But then again, it's like, and I really have come across people like, for example, when we moved to New York the first time, I lived in New York before, we lived on the other side of the river in the Hudson Valley, and my kids were going to school. And Neve, who had been to New York multiple times when we lived in Florida and everywhere, we hopped on a train and went to the city. There were actually girls in our class living in the Hudson Valley, 2 hours away, that had never been in the city.
Wow. Yeah.
So I guess travel, and I really become to realize, for me, yes, second nature, because I grew up traveling, but also because again, it lights me up so much, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I thought it did everybody else too.
No, it doesn't. And the other thing that I get from you is that you seem to be comfortable anywhere. Is that right? That's the
Absolutely.
vibe that I get.
I went to China. So my son was studying in Shanghai. And so I'm like, okay, I'm flying to China. So I flew to China. And of course I don't speak Mandarin, and the taxi drivers don't speak English. And it's like, okay, I have my
Mhm.
little app. Like you can drop me anywhere and I'll be like, okay, I'll figure it out. Absolutely. And I love to travel on my own too. I
Yeah.
love to travel on my own.
So I think that's the thing that makes you unique because even if somebody's anxious, and we'll talk a little bit about just travel with Sandy, I think other than all the skills that you have is that they can get that sense of being from you and calmness. So then they get comfortable themselves because they know you got it. They know they're with you. You might not have been there before, although I don't know, as many places you haven't been yet, but they feel that sense of like you did for that trip to Sedona. You took
Right.
over, and they were happy that you took over, right?
I felt, well, and it's funny that you say that, and I literally did take over, but because that's just what I do when it comes to travel, but they were super grateful because they weren't as comfortable navigating it. And you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter if I'm with people or on my own. Like travel just is second nature. And I have traveled extensively and oftentimes on my own, and people would say, oh, can I join you?
Yeah,
Because I wanted to go there, but I don't really want to go alone. And I know you'll help me navigate this area.
exactly. No, that makes so much sense. So when you travel, because I know you're very organized, but like when you're gonna go somewhere, what steps do you go through? And I know that you have some resources put together for people, but like you're just gonna go somewhere, you traveling very soon too, and I heard you just took care of it. Like your mind just go in order, you know what steps to take to go where you're going.
Well, I mean, the first thing is, of course, if you're going somewhere by plane, say, and I do have a trip planned to Albuquerque in February. So the first thing I do is I look online, look for the flights, accommodations I don't need because it's a seminar situation, but I just have, a routine. The flights is the first thing. Don't book them too far out. Don't book them too close. Like I have the timeline. If I need a rental car, I know the websites to go to. I do shop around a little bit because it's in the travel industry, everything just fluctuates so much, right?
Hmm.
But I also don't overthink it. And I actually did a reel the other day. A lot of people, when they book flights, and I used to do this actually, like ages ago, before I learned better, they go for the cheapest fare in the airline. But oftentimes that doesn't make sense, for example, because by the time then you add your seat, and if you want to check a bag, or even some airlines charge for carry-on, it's going to be more expensive to do it a la carte than if it is when you purchase, the next tier up. So little things like that. So I just, have a system. I go and I book and I do, and that's it. Hop on the plane and ready to go. And I'm a light traveler. I never really
Yes,
over.
I was gonna go to that, and I never knew that because I do book travel, and the thing that I look at is the schedule, when it's gonna get me there, and when can I come back. But I didn't think about um not to go for the cheapest because looking at the airplane, like so we are not you and I are both Delta girls, so Delta takes care of you. You don't have to worry about that. But with other
Right,
airlines, as I found out the hard way when I went to Sedona. Um, they don't include everything, and if you don't read the fine line, they'll get you. So that is very
right.
big. So thank you for that tip. And the second thing is that you do travel light. So how? And I did not see you wearing the same clothes either. So how do you manage to put everything in very tiny suitcase?
I learned it the hard way, and this is going 20 years. I mean, I don't know, many, many years back. I was in London. I went to London and I had a suitcase that was way too big. And I had to go from Heathrow into the city, which was all fine because the train, that was easy. But then I had to go on the subway. And
Mm.
carrying the suitcase up, I'm like, never, ever again. So what I do now is I I pack so that, and I do wear a lot of black anyway, a lot of neutral colors that you can mix and match. And people say, but what if I'm going for a fancy dinner? Well, then, pack one nice dress or a skirt and two different tops or whatever. And I also, what I like to do is not only coordinate the outfits, but I like to purchase materials that are not, that are wrinkle resistant, I guess is the word,
Yeah.
because, it's what I did do for my daughter's wedding, because that was a little different. I hung it in the bathroom shower before to let the steam,
Yeah.
steam it out because it was a silk dress. But I just make sure that I have, one or two pair of pants, depending on if it's, 2 weeks, the pants that I wear, and then socks, underwear, and the rest I just really mix and match. Now, somebody just recently said to me, but I'm going on a scuba diving trip and I need to take all my gear. That's a little different. She has a
Yeah.
thing with all her gear. That's fine. But you can still then, the bathing suit, that doesn't take up much room. You don't need 15 bathing suits, right? And
Yeah.
so it just becomes, and then I roll a lot, and it just all fits. I have great little suitcases. The other thing that for me, it's more, especially when I'm going home to Germany, it's less about the size and it fitting than about the weight. So the
Mm.
weight restriction. So I like to buy or have light suitcases that are light, empty, because some of the airlines, they weigh and they give you no grace.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. It makes so much sense. So I know, the name of the podcast show is Healed and Gas Flowing, and I know we're talking about travel, and I know that you have been on the path for a very long time. So what would you say has been the thing that has helped you the most when it comes to thinking big and allowing yourself to have this amazing adventure called life? What things have you worked on? Yeah, overall.
So since travel is what lights up my soul, and I've been to, I think, 37 countries, but there's a lot more that I want to explore. And of course, travel doesn't have to be exorbitantly expensive, but you still need money. So what I've worked on for the most part is my abundance mindset,
Mm,
about reprogramming my subconscious and not being in that victim, that broke, that I can't afford it situation, but reframing that is into the abundance. I will be there. And I just listened to a podcast today, and I've heard this a million times, but right, sometimes it takes a few times or somebody
yeah.
says it a different way. And it's not about doing, it's about being and becoming. So
Mm,
becoming that version of who I want to be when I travel. For example, one thing that's huge on my bucket list is to go to India. And I actually have a trip planned next year for India. And I don't know how, right? I'm not worried about the how, but I have the vision. I know where I want to go. I know what I want to do. So that's really a lot of the work that I do, the inner work, through meditation, through hypnosis, through many different modules.
yeah, that's amazing. Especially when, like you just said, you planning, you have this idea of going to India. I've been working on the mindset, allow you to say, I don't need to have all the details now. I know I'm gonna go, and that's it.
Exactly. Exactly. And then stepping into that. So, one of the hypnotherapists, I guess is what you call them, he talks about the quantum leap. I mean, many talk about the quantum leap, but he's the one I listen to. He talks about that quantum leap, and that's what I'm embracing, is that quantum leap, and I'm going to leap into that version of myself that will allow me to go to wherever.
And what I love about that is, and thank you for sharing, that you did that work to have that abundance mindset, and the people that are probably calling to you and they don't even know it, one of the same thing. Because I know a lot of people that want to travel, but they hold themselves back in fear of how am I going to get there and where am I going to stay? What am I going to eat? Do I need a, a visa? All these questions keep them hostage. And I love that when they come to you, they don't have, that's, you take away all those excuses because you take care of everything. So I know you have an awesome trip coming up. So talk us through a little bit about how you prepare for that, because I know you did some preparation for that trip, and a little bit of the trip.
So the one to Ireland in June
Yeah,
2025. So
yeah,
I'm really excited about that. So it's a trip. It's a very I, it's a very off the beaten track trip to Ireland. So there's a lot of trips to Ireland, and Ireland seems to be a very popular destination, especially for, well, worldwide really. But it's what I did is, and I started with, okay, how are we going to get around? I did a trip to Germany last July, but I drove. I'm not going to drive in Ireland because I really don't know Ireland, and I don't want to drive on the other side of the road with a
yeah.
bunch of people. If it were just me, that's one thing, but I'm responsible. I'm like, So I looked first for transportation, found an awesome Sprinter van, sits 12 people. It's got leather seats. It's got TVs. Not that we're going to want to watch TV, but it's a
Yeah,
really nice, with a driver who's also a storyteller, tour guide. And he and I put together an itinerary because there's certain things I wanted to touch because I've been to Ireland many times, but he is taking us to some very off the beaten track places that your average tour does not take you to. And it's not in a big tour bus where it's hop on, hop off. You have 15 minutes to view and let's go to the next point.
yeah.
It's a very comfortable with community of like-minded people taking us from A to B to C. So the trip is finalized. I've got obviously the tour guide as well as the transportation, the Sprinter van. We've got the hotels. We've got there's a couple of horseback rides involved. One, it's on a beach, and it's honestly, I was there in October, probably the most beautiful beach I've ever seen.
Mm,
And part of why the beaches are so beautiful is because it's cooler than it is, for example, in a warmer climate.
yeah,
And so not as many people go to the beaches, right?
yeah.
So we're going to do a ride there. We're going to see a bunch of beautiful off the beaten track things, and they will be talked through the tour guide with the whole, the Irish have the gift of the gap, that storytelling, so so I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, as you were talking about it, I think what I like the most is not that you took care of all of those details, which is amazing, but that you actually went. So if I'm listening and I know that you're a planner and we could do many things virtually, right? But the fact that you went, so you saw that beach, you
Yep.
talked to the driver, you saw the van, you saw the places, and you know where people are going. So when somebody's listening, and it's not only for this trip to Ireland, I know you have many other trips planned. I think what I am hearing is that the person can know they're going to be in good hands. And I think that's going to help a lot of people make the decision to, you know what, this is the year that I travel.
Exactly. And so yeah, I was there in October. We did it all. We did what we're going to do in a week, like in 3 days. And we didn't, like, we just drove by some things
Yeah,
because obviously we didn't have the time. But yeah, because like you said, I wanted to vet it, for lack of better
yeah.
terms, because I want to know where the people that I'm leading to are going to go. And so that I'm excited about that.
That's exciting. That's happening in June. And you're gonna give us we're gonna get the link so people can check it out. I know there's not that many seats left. Because that's the other thing that I love about this trip. It's not 10,000 people. It's not 500 people. It's like intimate. So you can
Yeah.
actually enjoy yourself and not be packed like sardines on those huge buses.
Exactly. I mean, there are so many. In fact, somebody that I helped put a trip together last year, they had already put a deposit down on a trip to Ireland. And I looked at the itinerary and I'm like, do you realize you're going to be on a bus with 40 people? Where you're going is
Wow.
not even what you like to do, because she told me she does not like to shop. They were doing a lot of that.
Yeah.
And it was hop on, hop off. And I'm
Mm.
like, and it was so expensive. And I'm like, look, so I put together a trip to her, found a driver for her, and it cost them a hair more,
Wow.
but it
Yeah.
was intimate, not with 40 people. And it was a completely different, and she was so grateful. So there's definitely a lot of options out there to do it, in my books, the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you know it. And I love the way, what's the name of the company again? I just love it. It's so cute.
My company?
Yeah.
So it's Just Travel with Sandy.
Yeah. It's so good. It's just, I think the just implies so much means have your passport ready. I'll take care. Give me your money, and I'll take care of everything
Exactly.
else.
Exactly. I'll take care of you. And, you came up with this when I went to Germany. And I just love this because people wanted to come, but they were afraid of the language barrier.
Yeah.
And then you came up with this great phrase is, I speak German, so you don't have to, right?
Yes.
And it's true. It's just like this Ireland trip. I have a lady coming with me. She's never been outside of America. So
Wow.
she's
Yeah.
nervous, you know,
Yeah.
and so she feels comfortable that it's a small, intimate group and I'm taking care of everything.
That makes sense. No, that makes sense. It's beautiful. And you're very connected to Ireland. You've been there many times, and you know what to say, what how they act. That just makes such a big difference. And I think you and both and I are immigrants, so we know we have the same thing where we're comfortable, we go places like you said at the very beginning, which I love. You can travel, it's a matter if it's a plane or train. For me, it's the same. The moment I get into anything that's moving, my mind opens up. I get ideas. There's something about the traveling that it's incredible.
Absolutely. Yep, totally. And you know what's really interesting? I actually and it was released today. I recorded a podcast episode with a travel agent in the UK, and she got into her travel agency right after COVID. And she said that a lot of her customers, her first customers, um, they had been saving, and I don't think it's any different in America, but they had been saving for a car, a new car, or a house renovation, or my dog, a house
Yeah.
renovation, or, something. And then they're like, and she said they didn't call it the bucket list, they called it the fuck it list because they're
Mhm.
like, I don't know when I'm going to die. I don't know what's going to happen. I want to travel. And,
Yeah.
and it's true, right? Because the memories, I mean, a new car, it's great, it's fine and dandy, but the memories you create, the experiences, the culture, the food, just everything on being in a different environment, doesn't matter if it's national or international, is is priceless.
It's life. It's for me. It's like I could probably talk about my life depending on where I was at the time. Like it's moving. It's the people that I met. Like you and I both moved here around the same time, and we already have in-person people that we know. And I know people that have been in a place for 20 years. I don't have any new friends. Like I can go to the store and make a new friend, but not
Right.
everybody's like that.
Right. Right. But I think and I think you're absolutely right. And I never made that connection. A lot of it is because the openness, the different
Yeah.
cultures, and sometimes you do have to ask for directions and you're in a different country. And here's the thing about language that I've learned, even if you don't speak the language, you'll figure it out. There's that
Yeah.
international language. And the other thing that I realized, especially when I went to China, a lot of people were like, you're going to China and oh my God, and da, da,
Yeah.
da. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care if you're in China. I don't care if you're in Germany, France, the Dominican Republic, Russia, wherever you are. Humans, they want their basic needs.
Yeah.
They want to be
Yeah.
happy. They want to have fun. They want connection. And it doesn't matter what country you're in. So, and that's the beautiful thing. It doesn't matter if you speak Chinese or speak German. In the end, you can sit at a table and have the most incredible experience.
It's amazing. You just reminded me. I went to Bali the year before last year for Thanksgiving, and I was going for a retreat, but I went a couple of days early so I could really acclimate to the time difference. It was 12 hours ahead. And so I was coming from the past to the future. And I went there, and literally I was by myself, and I miscalculated, and I got there a day too early, so my driver was not there, and we're speaking via WhatsApp, and he's like, "I'll be right there." Well, it was an hour away. He's right there was an hour plus later. So I sat at Starbucks, and there were many drivers coming to me like, "Hey, we'll take you." I'm like, I'm not about to go with someone that I don't know, but it worked out. I didn't worry. I just picked up, got a tea, and I waited patiently at the airport. He picked me up. There was a room that he was able to find for me. I had to change hotels, rooms the next day. but it worked out. I was
Yeah.
at the other side of the world. I did not let that get in the way because it's part of what makes traveling fun. For me, it's like, yes, let's plan, but also let's see what happens when you don't plan.
I love that. Exactly. And I do like the German, the stereotypical, efficiency and structure and whatever, but you do have to give it, especially when you're traveling, you have to give it some room. I mean, I've missed many a connection. I've missed many. There's always a solution. Every problem has a solution, Ganesh, right? And it always works out.
It
It just always
does.
works out.
It's so good. So I think you're in the right business because you have all these skills. You have this, it's like the best business because it pays you to travel and you love to travel.
I know, right?
And you like people, you like talking to people. And so you say you have some trips planned. What's coming after Ireland,
What is coming up for what?
After Ireland.
So after Ireland, I'm working on a trip to France.
Okay.
And then next year, India. And so those are the physical trips that are planned, but I
Yep.
also am working on a digital product to help navigate, travel, and a membership where people can get together and talk all things travel and get tips and
Yeah.
itineraries and all that good stuff. So because some people they want to educate themselves first what's out there, and look at different itineraries. I actually, for my daughter's wedding, because they got married in Italy and they had a website, and people didn't just fly over for 3-day wedding,
Yeah.
but they stayed a little longer. So I created a few different itineraries for them to do before or after, and so I'll have that kind of offering as well. And it's really a travel navigator, for lack of better terms.
Yeah, this is so exciting. Do you have any resource for people to stay connected with you or get those questions answered in the meantime?
Absolutely. So I have a website, and this is twofold. So my website is, one of them is equestrianjourneys.com. Just travel with Sandy Gesundheit.
Thank you.
Just Travel with Sandy website is under construction, but you can find me on social media at Just Travel with Sandy. And you can also email me at support@justtravelwithsandy.com. And I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram and YouTube. So you can find me pretty much anywhere. And of course, email as well.
Yeah, I thank you for sharing that, but I'm referring to a little thing that you put together that is something that they can just put their questions and answers get spit out. We're gonna get that link, right?
Yes, we are. So absolutely. So it's a chat GPT extension. And so it's a GPT for those of you who are not as familiar with the AI. And it'll ask you a couple questions, and then you can create an itinerary or your packing or whatever you want all around travel. You can talk to the platform, and it's beautiful. I actually tested it, and there's a woman, completely, I didn't even know her, who actually had helped her book her trip to or navigate her trip to Ireland, which was funny. And another friend of mine that I had tested, she's in Australia, she's going to New Zealand, and she used it to help her with her New Zealand trip. So it's
Oh
great.
my
I love
God,
it.
this is amazing. It's such a, I wanted to make sure we talk about it because it's such a great tool. Because you are so international and you just mentioned Australia, going to New Zealand, going to different places, going to Ireland, different time zones. So this thing is alive, is awake 24/7, which is awesome. So you can get those questions answered basically by an extension of Sandy with the help of ChatGPT, which is incredible. So we'll make sure to add that link and all the other links that you mentioned to the blog post about the episode, because I want to make sure that for a lot of people at the beginning of the year, one of the big things that people say is, I want to travel more. And this is an amazing opportunity for everyone watching or listening, because I know, and you will also know, how brilliant and how amazing it is when you go someplace else, the amazing experiences that you have when you travel. So I want to make sure that we help as many people as we can fill that bucket list or have that check saying, I get to travel in 2025.
And I love that you said that because travel really broadens the mind and opens it really it broadens the mind. It helps you grow. It helps you get out of your comfort zone. There's nothing like it. In fact, my daughter, when she graduated from high school, she went to NYU and she spent her first year at the Paris campus from NYU has a Paris campus. And just living in Paris for a year. Her 11th grade, she lived in London for a year because she went
Wow.
just living or traveling, being exposed to other cultures is such a way to grow and way to open
Yeah.
your mind. It's so much more than taking the picture and buying the souvenir. It's really, it goes so deep. And if you just really see, oh, this is how they do this, how interesting, and this is how they do this, and the language, and even picking up snippets of the language, and it's just such a beautiful thing. And to me, I mean, I would much rather go on a trip any day of the week than have any material possession.
Yeah, no, I believe it. And it comes through in how passionate you talk about it because you have firsthand experience the marveling experiences and the places that you have been and how you feel. Like it just really changes you like when you travel.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. It just, like I
It's
said, it lights up my soul.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So we have the link. I know that you have a few more spots available for the trip to Ireland. Hopefully they can make that. But if not, they can connect with you and hopefully be on one of the other trips. And know that you also help people if they wanted to book a trip and they need help, they can do that as well. Is that right?
Absolutely. I'm a full travel advisor. So if anybody wants to, they want to go to, I don't know, to Greece and to
Yeah.
Italy, whatever. And I can definitely help them navigate or get an itinerary and all that good stuff. So anything you need. I do have 4 slots left for Ireland. There's 6
Yeah.
taken, 10 total. So anybody is interested in Ireland. And but yeah, I just love it.
I'm so excited. Now I wanted you to be on the show because I'm not bringing in people, just anybody. I'm bringing people that I believe in, people that I'm connected with, and people that are making the world a better place. And you, by doing, it's not just booking a trip to book a trip. It's really an experience. It's really expanding yourself. So I feel 2024 was the year of planting and a lot of growth. And this 2025 is the year of seeing everything put together, coming together in just a year of ease. I just see things happening and I see travel for everyone who love for everyone to travel this year.
Uh, that's awesome. No, I love being on, and I mean, I could talk about travel
Yeah,
till the cows come home.
absolutely. No, it's been great having you. Thank you so much. And please continue helping people get to amazing places.
Thank you so much for having me, Kat. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. There you have it, guys. This is your opportunity to go to places that you haven't been before. Go to places that you have been dreaming about, places that bring you so much joy and so much care. So make sure that you check out follow Sandy. We're going to have all the information for her. And please know that I love you, that I'm rooting for you, and I'm going to see you super duper soon.